Welcome, everybody, to our March Tech Talk. We have our guest speaker from CompTIA. Kirk Smallwood is here. He's our VP of Strategic, is it Strategic Partnerships?
Key accounts and industry engagements.
Okay. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
I'm trying to remember everybody's titles. Kirk and I go a few years now. We've been partners. And so I'm excited to hear what he has to show us about our AI certifications for our scholarships. And then there's other, I guess, micro certifications or smaller certifications in AI, which will make it much easier for people to obtain skills building in that area. So I'll let you go ahead and take it away.
All right. Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you so much for having me speak. As Cynthia mentioned, my name is Kirk Smallwood. I am VP of Key Accounts and Industry Engagement. I've been with CompTIA for 17 years now in a few different roles. I oversaw the academic business development team for about a decade of that time. And now I work on a couple of very key accounts for the organization, as well as some industry engagement. And industry engagement is how I connected with Cynthia. I do a lot of outreach to not-for-profits especially, and find out what they're working on as it relates to tech and see if there are some resources that we might have that could aid them in their mission. We do a ton of research. We have a lot of career exploration tools and pathways besides the certifications that we do. A little about me, I love nature and wildlife and traveling and all that. So just had to share a few of my experiences over the years. I really enjoy that. And golf, although I pretty much stink at it, but I'm a glutton for punishment. I keep going out there and seeing if I can improve any, but it's probably the most challenging thing in the world. So, as far as what we're going to talk about today, who is CompTIA? AI, what we're seeing, as I mentioned before, we do a lot of research, and I want to share some of that with you to understand what we're seeing from not just the perspectives of the job hunters, but also what the employers are seeking as well, because it's an interesting dynamic. I'm going to talk about our AI Essentials products. This is a brand new line of products that we have. We're really excited about them. Feel like they really fit a market need, and hopefully you agree with me once I show them how they work. We'll do a demo of some of the essentials, kind of how they work, and then we'll talk about our newest cert, which seems to be our most popular of all time, at least so far, Sec AI Plus, and then talk a little bit more about our product roadmap and what can you expect coming down the pike in the near future. So, first of all, if you're not familiar with us, who we are an organization that was founded in the late 1980s by the computer industry. At that time, the biggest challenge that they had was trying to find a way to validate the huge demand or validate people to fit the huge demand for IT help desk and support jobs. Those were just exploding back then. And we needed some way to validate the skills and knowledge and abilities of those people to be able to fit those jobs. And so we actually came together and we are like, let's create a certification. So we created our first certification, A plus. I think that was early 90s, very like 92, I want to say. And since then, we have certified over 3.6 million people with our certifications, making us the largest vendor neutral IT certifying body in the world. And as you'll see in a second, we have a lot of other certifications. That was just the start of it. But we are really trusted in terms of creating exams and other ways of validating skills for IT job seekers that the industry trusts. We're known around the world. You could have an A plus here in India and China, whatever, and they would all represent the same thing, the knowledge, skills, and abilities to do that job, because the job is the same no matter where you are. The language might be different, but the job is the same in terms of working with technology. So we've been around a long time and doing this at a very effective degree. So if you have heard about us, you've probably heard about our certifications. Our three probably most well-known ones are A plus network and A plus net plus and security plus. Those are kind of the big three. But we have three distinct pathways. One's around infrastructure, cybersecurity, and then data and analytics is our newest pathway. So as you advance through these pathways, of course, it depends on, are you entry level? Are you, intermediate? Are you an expert? And we have a few new certs now that we call expansion certs that mesh well with some of the certs in the pathway already. And I'll talk about those a little bit later on. But that's basically our certification pathways and our certification library. We partner with really everybody. We have thousands of school partners, whether they be K-12, community college, four-year college. They're using our curriculum and our certifications within their programs. What's great to see is so many schools are really starting to switch to realize the opportunity into careers. And so they're creating different pathways within their schools that they didn't have before. And we work really closely with some of the biggest school districts, some of the biggest online and public schools, universities. We work with enterprise a lot. They're, of course, interested in upskilling their IT staff and making sure they're up to date on all their cybersecurity skills or help desk, whatever it may be. And then the government is also a huge partner of ours. The DoD is huge. They mandate several of our certs. I want to say six or seven at this point, maybe more within their 8140 rubric. And not only are these folks partners in terms of buying certifications from us, but they provide a lot of great feedback. So when we create our certifications, we're working with the industry to create them. We're not doing this in a vacuum. We're doing a ton of research, but working with subject matter experts from these organizations. They're also telling us like what they're seeing out there in terms of new jobs that are emerging or jobs that are growing tremendously and they need to be validated in terms of certifications. And so they participate in helping us create the exams. And then, for all the folks instructing the exams, many of them help us create our content and help us create really engaging content that flows well and helps people pass the certification. And so we work hand in hand with the industry to create our products. Let's talk about AI. It really is the 800-pound gorilla in the room. I don't think I've ever seen, at least in my experience in the technology field, which has been about 30 years, anything that's really just buzzed like AI has. It is talked about everywhere, and I just don't see it slowing down anytime soon. I think there's just so much buzz, but also a lot of uncertainty about it as well. But to kind of prove my point as far as how much it's kind of taken over. These are Google trends. These are mentions of AIs. This top line. These are Google trends in terms of mentions of AI. They have exploded the last couple of years. The next slide shows that in comparison to Taylor Swift, which is probably the biggest pop star in the world. She even had this huge Eras tour recently. It's even far outpacing Taylor Swift in terms of the interest in it via Google Trends. So there's just nothing like it. It's just kind of taken over the community. Just it's just taken over everything. It feels like so. There's just so much interest from all aspects of people, whether they know a little bit about it or not. It seems like everyone wants to know about it. What do we mean by AI? Really, the way we define it, it's pretty simple. It's just the ability to use generative AI chatbots effectively and efficiently. Those could be, Gemini or ChatGPT or Copilot or any of these things. It's just really the ability to use them effectively and efficiently. Probably not a surprise that most people don't know how to use those things effectively and efficiently. And I think that's why people are so intrigued by them. They've maybe fiddled with them a little bit and see the potential, but they don't really know how to maximize their abilities and make them truly productive. So we're in an era of rapid change. If you didn't get that impression already, things are just changing incredibly fast, really in many jobs, but especially in technology. In just 3 years, about a third of the skills for the average job have changed. And for many jobs, about three out of four skills are different. And this has always been the case. There's always been change in tech jobs, especially, but it's really ramping up. Technical skills used to be valid for about, I say valid in quotes, for about 10 years. Now, most of these are out of date in just 2 to 3 years. And that's really indicative in the way we create our certs. So when we renew our certs or create the next version of a cert, there we have to every 3 years. We're ANSI ISO accredited, so that means we have to refresh our certs every 3 years, which is a good thing. To be honest, we could probably do it every two for some of these because stuff is changing just so rapidly. Maybe we can use AI to help us do that a little bit quicker, I guess. But it's a long process to create the next version of an exam. There's so much time and dedication it takes to do that. And it becomes even more of a challenge when technical skills are changing so quickly. And it's a challenge also for instructors. I mean, if it's a big job for us to keep up with the rapid change of technology, you can imagine how the instructors feel in schools or in training centers and the people seeking the jobs. They have to, especially now with AI, they're really feeling like they've got to know AI skills when they apply for a job now. And in fact, when we talk to, again, we do a ton of research. One aspect of this is interviews with HR professionals, the folks doing the hiring and understanding like what they're looking for. And AI is the most important digital skill for employees reported by HR, not just for their IT folks, of course, but for everybody in their organization. It's really important that their folks get upskilled. And 84% of the companies that we're talking to are planning on increasing their AI investments in 2026. Now, that could also mean not just upskilling, but also the technology itself. In other words, implementing AI technologies within their organization, but also training the people on that. So there seems to be a pretty big commitment on upskilling and adopting AI when it comes to their companies. If you look at the bottom line here on the left, this is the unemployment rate or sorry, this is the job listings for all tech occupations. Been pretty flat, honestly, for the last couple of years. That's still a lot better than many jobs out there. Quite frankly, it's been pretty resilient. And we just launched a new report as well, or one that's coming very soon that we still are projecting tech jobs to grow in the future as well. So it's maintained pretty steady throughout all this. But if you look at the top line, those are job listings with an AI skill requirement. These could be any jobs, but this is just going up like a hockey stick pretty much. Every year it's advancing crazy. So every month, I mean. So this is what employers are looking for. They're looking for, at the very least, people to have some basic AI functionality, being able to use AI for automation, data analysis, creating AI agents, prompt building. They're looking for these types of skills out there in really any occupation. And we've been saying for a while now that we don't think AI is going to create a bunch of new jobs. There may be a couple, like possibly AI engineer or AI sysops, but we're not seeing a whole bunch of new jobs being created with AI. What we're seeing is every job out there is going to incorporate AI skills in there. No matter what you're doing, you're going to be expected to be able to use AI. It's almost like, you should be able to use Windows, right? Back in the day, like everyone needed to learn how to use Microsoft Office to be able to use those different programs just to do their job. It's going to be the same thing with AI, and we're getting there. And companies are trying to figure this out, and so are the people doing the job seeking. So when you look at AI adoption, of course, there's kind of two modes of it. There's the individual use, what individuals are doing, but then also tech stack integration by actual companies. But most companies are still in the very early adoption stages. They're doing pilots. Most are doing kind of low priority production of it. There's a small chunk, well, since say small, but like maybe a fifth of companies are doing some high priority production with AI. Most people are like still figuring this stuff out, and there are a lot of concerns when it comes to adopting AI. There's, of course, cybersecurity concerns, using AI to, hack a company or trick people. We all see the deep fakes and things like that. Balancing humans and AI, there's a human aspect to everything still. That's not going away. They're using AI, but they're not going away. But building policies around AI, how it's used, when it's used, there's the cost of acquiring AI functionality. There's the cost of the infrastructure. And how do you measure how it's working? How do you measure the ROI of AI within the organization? What's that look like? How do you figure out how to measure that stuff? These are all challenges that businesses are thinking about when adopting AI. There's a lot of uncertainty. Then, if you go to the job seeker side of things, they recognize they've got to have these AI skills. That's the number one important skill that they're looking at when preparing themselves to get a new job. Now, these are, again, this is these are folks that are job seeking. These are not including non-job seekers. Non-job seekers are not prioritizing AI as much as the people doing the job seeking, because the job seekers are, they're obviously looking. They've got to present themselves and frame themselves as knowing AI if they're going to get attention, because every business is looking for this now. Um, Job seekers are just, though, really uncertain. I mean, they're just uncertain about how well they are prepared. Only about 3 in 10 feel that they are well prepared for a new job because of AI, and they don't feel like they're fully there yet. But they're seeking training on how to use them effectively, clear guidance on policies, reassurance that AI will not put their job at risk, that it'll be a tool for them to use. There's just a lot that they're looking for, and most are planning on. If some have, been dabbling in AI tools, whether it's like watching YouTube videos or buying content or just doing it on their own. Most are a lot have either done this or are planning to do this. So it's on top of mind for everybody, but it's still just a big uncertainty. So what are the skills that are needed? And we've really divided these into like four critical skills. So AI fluency, again, like the ability to, oops, let me go here. The ability to be more productive and creative and solve complex business challenges. That's really the gist and the heart of AI fluency. Just being able to be more productive, more creative, and better prepared to solve complex business challenges. 90% of workers in which desk workers have access to an AI chat assistant, 90% of people have an AI chat assistant at work. 0% of companies feel that they're actually getting a good ROI on their investment. In other words, giving their workers this AI chat assistant. So that's a pretty big discrepancy in terms of the skills needed. People need these skills. You can't just hand them a tool and think that they're going to be fluent in it. Access does not equal fluency. You have to have training to close this gap. In other words, if somebody has access to Excel, does that make them a great data analyst? No. If somebody has access to social media, does that make them really proficient in building a digital brand? No, of course not. Again, access does not equal fluency. So again, AI fluency, being able to do efficient and effective prompts, being able to secure and responsibly use AI, being able to use context. Context is really king when it comes to AI. We'll explore that a little bit more in an example, kind of a demo I'll do. It's really all about context. Context, it really makes you think hard about what you're asking it to do, the degree of specificity that you have when asking this. And then streamlining work tasks. That's really about AI fluency. Second skill, curiosity. Curiosity is really the key. AI is great at teaching you almost anything and identifying ways to improve your processes and helping to solve problems, but only if you're asking it the right questions. You've got to be able to want to learn this. You've got to be asking what if, and you've got to be interested in seeking better ways of doing things. So it really almost superpowers you if you have the curiosity. AI is like this added superpower, but you've got to have the curiosity to fully take advantage. Again, without curiosity, AI just sits idle. You've got to be curious. The third is critical thinking. So, critical thinking is kind of the lens. Like, again, AI is great at generating options and proposing solutions and offering clear next steps, but the humans have to bring the context. You've got to be able to ask the right questions and refine the outputs to keep making them better. And this is, I think, what a lot of people have to learn. It's just, and again, we'll show this, but it's really all about the context. You have to be really specific in what you're asking to really get the full benefit of AI. And then again, AI outputs stay generic. If you're not really critically thinking about what you're asking it, it's just going to stay generic. And then finally, communication. So AI can be as this great thought partner, this incredible resource, almost like a fast coworker, if you will, an accelerator for ideas, but it's still about the humans. They're still going to have to share those ideas and work clearly with others. In other words, a human can use AI and generate all this great resources and materials and ideas, but the humans still have to share it and share those ideas clearly and then understand the needs of their partners or coworkers' perspectives in order to be able to use AI most efficiently. So one can't work without the other. You've got to have AI to be able to do a lot of this work for you, but then you've got to be able to share those ideas coherently and really understand who you're talking to, because ultimately the humans have to do that. And again, without communication, even great AI supported work never reaches or inspires anyone else. It's about the human to really inspire people using the AI work. So those are the four critical skills in the AI world. And just to summarize where we're at so far. So again, the world is changing at an incredible pace. Students, but really anyone in the workforce, even if you're already in the workforce and not a student, they're going to need these new skills to succeed because everyone's looking for you to have them. These skills are not easy to teach, though. We'll talk about that in a second. These skills are not easy to teach because of the nature of them. And we may not have access to all the tools that we need, but there is hope. Um, Assessing these skills, assessing AI skills is very time consuming. It's very hard because there's no single right answer. Curiosity, AI fluency, critical thinking, they show up in a lot of different forms. And a lot of them means looking at what's the quality of your reasoning, not necessarily just checking a box like multiple choice. It also requires rich artifacts. So to measure these skills, students have to produce some meaningful work, and these take time to review and require a lot of complex rubrics to evaluate. Like the more you ask them to produce meaningful work, the more time it takes to review and review a lot of complex things. And so that adds a lot of time as well. And then scaling this within, like, say, a classroom setting is very hard because every student's pathway is different. You've got to evaluate each of them individually. It's almost like evaluating, I would say, art in a way, right? Everyone's going to be showing it a different type of art. And trying to do that across a whole class is hard. You have to be evaluating each piece of art almost individually and then give really thoughtful feedback across this is really hard. So it's really hard to do all this for instructors, especially. It's just a lot they have to, it just takes a lot of time. There's a lot of nuance about it. And these things can be pretty complex. So our answer is our CompTIA Essentials courses. And so these are a set of industry vetted learning and assessment products for tech enabled learners and workers. So these are for, and when I say tech enabled learners and workers, this is everyone, right? There's like pretty much no job that's not using tech, whether it's a laptop or a desktop or an iPhone or whatever it may be. This is for everyone. This is for the masses. So these are a way of assessing people, but doing it in a very engaging and relatively short manner. So each one of our courses, and they're not just AI focused, but most of them are AI focused, but each one of these provides, I would say, at minimum, like a 2 to 8 hour learning experience. And it's really focused on developing skills. It's not just watching videos and then checking a box and saying that you did this. It's not about that at all. It's coming out with actual skills that you can use on a daily basis. These are designed for both self-paced e-learning or in blended environments. This stuff could be taught in classes, but really it's especially good for self-paced. And it provides a really engaging learning experience. So you might be watching videos, you might be doing some reading, but as you'll see, there's a lot of engaging learning going on through some of the labs that are in the products. There's a skills-based assessment, so you're actually doing an assessment. We call what you earn a comp cert or competency certificate. So not a full-blown certification, but a certificate. But it's something that you can show that you went through this course, and you have these particular skills based on what the course has, and you earn that digital credential. As I mentioned, it's a comp cert. That's what we call it. So why do we create these? So we, of all companies, are really well positioned to meet the demand that both the job seekers and the employers are looking for. So 77% of HR and learning and development professionals were familiar with our reputation. Even if they weren't necessarily in the IT realm, they're familiar with CompTIA. We have a great reputation when it comes to developing skills-based materials and exams that validate knowledge, skills, and abilities in the IT world. So it's in our DNA, really. So we're really well positioned to create this new line of products. But when you validate in this type of skill, multiple choice questions are really a poor way of evaluating someone's ability to perform a skill on the job. So, like, if you wanted to validate a skill that shows that you're good at identifying a good use case in your work for AI augmentation, there's no good way to do that with a multiple choice quiz. You just can't really assess that with multiple choice, just not possible. So what we do is we start by providing learners with instruction, like a video or a text, and then we give them a task. So one example might be work with an AI tool of your choice to identify an upcoming task that can be streamlined with AI and develop a system for AI augmentation. So that might be a task, we might say. And then here's an example, and we're actually going to show this live in a second, but this will help you create, this is a lab that helps you create an effective prompt. So the AI coach is going to take you through and give you an assignment, ask you a couple questions, and then you start providing feedback. It's going to keep steering you to get more specific, or could you ask this a different way, or could you provide this much more detail, in helping you craft a really effective prompt. And so the first time I did this, I was like, "Oh right, gosh, I'm really not thinking about this, am I? I thought I could type a really simple prompt and that would be it." But then it really challenges you to be like, "Well, what else could you be asking here? What other specifics could you ask AI for help with?" And it really tests your ability to be able to do that. And then you plug it into the chatbot, and the chatbot lets you know how you did. So again, we'll show this in a second, but just kind of giving you a heads up. So another example might be an example where it's asking you to use the AI tool of your choice to create a certain task or streamline a certain task. And then you can develop this using whatever AI tool that you want, and then drag it in to upload it. And then using AI, it'll give you a score report to show how you did. The required things it was looking for was task selection, planning for AI augmentation, and prompt style. And so it's going to grade you and let you know how you did, where you fell a little bit short, and then you can go retry it if you want. So it's giving you real time feedback. This is a lot faster than a human instructor could do it. Um, it talks about all that nuance and all the specificity that it's looking for, and it makes it really easy to evaluate how you're doing on learning these skills. So let's try it out. Let me get out of here. I'm going to stop sharing and let me go to my browser. I'm going to show you a couple of examples of what this looks like. So I was showing you this before. So this is one to help really help you get a good idea. Oh, sorry, I started with the wrong one. Crafting an effective prompt. So we got the AI coach over here, and we've got the chatbot over here. So it's asking me, I can pick anything I want. Do you have a task in mind that you think I could help with? I'm just going to say, um, planning a dinner party. Okay. Now, I could just leave it to AI and just say, hey, I'm playing a dinner party. It's saying, okay, great idea. It's a lot of fun. Uh, but to make your prompt clear, could you tell me more about this? What are your main goals? For example, menu ideas, guest invitation wording, timeline planning. Is there any specific content I should know, like dietary preferences, number of guests, or style theme? Any constraints for the response? For example, keep it short. I could say, like, keep your suggestions short, suggest only vegetarian options, etc. So let's see. How about it's going to be for 10 people. I would like a Mexican theme. Um, I believe two guests have are vegetarian. Okay. So I'm giving a little bit more of what it's asking and saying, what do you want the help with? You want to create a menu, find recipes, suggest a shopping list, or something else? Do you want, constraints on these, like limit to three courses? Let's say, okay, I want help creating a menu of three uh three courses, including an appetizer. Um, let's see. Also provide a shopping list for the ingredients. Okay, so it's recapping. This is what I want. Do you have any constraints, such as simple recipes? Like, okay, I'll say I'm not the best cook, so please make these recipes simple. Um, okay, so let's see what it says. Okay, now try writing a prompt for an AI chatbot with those details. Okay, so it's guiding me to write a new prompt. So please help me create a three-course Mexican dinner menu, with an appetizer for 10 people, with two of them being vegetarian. The menu should be, sorry, the recipe should be simple and include a shopping list. Okay, that's a strong prompt. So I can go ahead and put the prompt. It's saying, that's pretty good. Well, if we try it to put in here, so I'm going to test the prompt and see what it says. Okay, so it's giving me what I want. Simple three-course dinner, appetizer, main, dessert, shopping list, some simple recipes that even I could do. Um, and then I'm going to hit score and see how I did. Okay, it looks like I did pretty well. So it took me a little bit of work on the coach side, but I did pretty well. Um, so you can see how it really makes you think differently. Like it kept kind of almost challenging me to be like, okay, what else? What other information could you provide that would make this easier? Like, again, were you gonna make the recipes? Do you want them simple? It just makes you really think about the prompting that I'm asking to save time and get the answer that I'm looking for to get the best answer. So that's a neat idea of how you can create an effective prompt. You can see it gives you very quick feedback. If I went to a class on this, how long would this take me to get effective feedback from a teacher?
Hey, Kirk,
This is yes,
this that reminds me of communications therapy.
yeah, yeah,
This is teaching you how to
exactly.
write better or to communicate your thoughts better.
Yeah,
I wonder, I honestly wonder after taking some of these courses if people
yeah.
become better communicators in general in
It,
real life.
it I think it will. I think it can't help but to. I mean, it really challenges you to think about what you're asking and
Yeah.
how you're framing things and the again, I'm gonna the specifics that you put into the prompting. It really does make you think differently. So I agree with you. I think it totally is. Let me show you a different one. So in this activity, you're going to be presented with some AI generated images, and your job is to get what the prompt was to create the image. Okay. So yes, I'm ready to see the first AI image. And so they're kind of flipping this. It's like you're having to guess, here's the image that was created. It's a apple, green apple, looks like it's got beads of water on it. It's on a wooden table. So, all right. Let me guess what the prompt might have been for this. So, please show me a green apple on a wooden table, I guess it is, with beads of water on it. All right, let's see how that was. Okay, good guess. So it said I did pretty well. Consider the level of detail about the apple and the setting. Um, yeah, please show me a green apple on a wooden table. Uh, with beads of water and the sun reflection on it. I don't know. I'm just guessing here. Getting closer. Okay. I'm not sure how the apple's framed in the image. Would you call this a close up or further away? Okay. Again, it's making you really think about what you want. Yes. So I'm gonna copy this. I'll put it in here to save time. A a close up image of. Okay, excellent. That's very close to the actual prompt. The real prompt was, oh, shy. See, I didn't use shiny. A close up of a shiny green apple on a rustic wooden table. Okay, now we move to a level two challenge. All right. Um, please show me a white cat with orange stripes on a windowsill surrounded by potted flowers. I don't know if there's flowers or plants. I don't know what you call them. Enjoying the sunlight. Okay. Did pretty good as opposed. Oh, right. I didn't say it was sleeping. Um, for one thing. So please show me a sleeping white cat. Um, I don't know. How would you describe this palette? Um,
Vibrant?
as the main image, enjoying the sunlight and yeah, let's see, how do I say that? Enjoying the sunlight and vibrant hues. I don't know. I'm just kind of guessing. Getting really close. Oh, okay. So I need to say view from the side. Um, at from the side. So it's saying the colors bright and vibrant or soft and pastel. What would you call that?
Bright and vibrant. Or you want the pastel look or you want the
Well, it's asking me like what the prompt would have been to make it look like this. Would you
Oh,
call
I
that?
see.
I
Yeah,
don't.
no, no, okay. So yeah, it's soft and pastel.
Okay, good. All right. So and so with soft and pastel hues. Okay, that's pretty. That got pretty close. And then you can see it takes you onto even harder ones, and you get the idea. But it keeps upping your skill with each image. Like you got to think a little bit harder. You got to provide a little bit more detail. Got to be a little bit more specific.
So this is the
It
generic AI, like the basic AI one, or
Yeah,
are they
I think this is the AI prompting one
the AI
that these
prompts?
come from.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah, we have several that I'll show, but
And then you
several
were
that I'll
saying
mention.
that they're specific, like for AI and security, then they have specified training for how to use AI within security protocols, or okay.
I'll let's see. Let me show you. Let me get back to my slides here. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that demonstration. Actually, um I will provide the links to those so you guys can fool around with them yourselves. Let me put those links in the chat and you guys can fool around with those as well. I'll put those in the chat. So you can, did you see that? Did those show up?
Yep.
Okay, good.
I'll
I got
save
some weird
those.
message on my end. Okay.
I'll save those so that when I edit the video, I can add them in the YouTube, the comments, and pin them.
Okay. Awesome. So let me, sorry. Okay. Um, so our kind of our most basic is called AI Essentials. So this is just 2 to 3 hours, just really basic about what AI is. This is someone who's probably not even looked at AI before, just gives them a really basic introduction. Actually, I mean, one or both of those could have been in AI Essentials. I'm not positive. I don't know all of them like the back of my hand yet, but just some, again, context of how to use effective prompts. But we've got the way we look at these is we have some different levels. So AI basics for everyone. We have like AI essentials for that, kind of what I just showed. But then you have some more mastery level around things like AI prompting essentials. And then we're getting into a series of kind of like AI for blank, right? AI for sales, AI for marketing. I think we have one for finance coming soon. We have one called AI agent essentials that's coming shortly. So we kind of classify these into kind of three main buckets, whether it's like super basic or mastering assistance or some truly advanced AI skills. And then this is what we have currently in our essentials line. And not all these are AI. We do have ones around cloud, business essentials, soft skills, project management essentials, um, uh, uh, data analysis, among the other AI specific ones. So we are releasing practically one of these a month. We seem to be really focusing on the AI ones recently. So I think you'll see more of those coming. In fact, you will. I'll show show some of those coming. Um, but the other nice thing about these is we're refreshing these like monthly. Like every month we're taking a look at all these and making refreshes that we need to because it's just changing so quickly. So we're keep these are not ones in which we're refreshing every 3 years. These are being refreshed like monthly as needed. So we're keeping a really close portfolio on close watch on those. Now, the other certification that we just launched in February is called Sec AI Plus. And this is, we had 10 times the request for beta exams for this than any cert we've had in years. This is seemingly going to be maybe our fastest adopted cert that we've ever seen. It is doing really, really well. I don't think it's much of a surprise considering it's got security and AI in the name of it. But this is what we call one of our expansion series certs. And this is really important right now because we're right now seeing all this AI innovation out there. It's changing rapidly, but then the risk involved with that also is expanding rapidly. And Sec AI sits right in the center of both of those things, balancing the innovation in AI and then protecting the company from risk with that innovation. So it sits in a really sweet spot there. So the audience for this would be somebody who has about 3 to 4 years of IT experience, approximately 2 years of hands-on cybersecurity experience, job roles like cybersecurity administrator, cybersecurity analyst, penetration tester, cybersecurity architect, engineer. And it's perfect for those who already have one of our other cybersecurity certifications like Security Plus or CYSA Plus or Pen Test or Security X. It's a great complement to those because it fills in the AI knowledge around security. So, in other words, really three main things that it helps solve. So it's securing the AI within the organization. So that's obviously risk management. You're also defending the organization against AI driven cyber threats. So you're securing your AI that you're using, you're defending against outside AI threats, and then you're also using AI to be more productive in a cyber job. So like augmentation. So those are really, if you remember nothing else, remember those three things about Sec AI. And so hopefully you can understand like why it really solve some major issues because as people are expecting to use AI in companies, you're expecting to also secure that and protect the organization from these outside threats and just be more productive. So you're securing the AI, you're using AI to be more productive and secure, and then you're protecting from the outside. So that's why it's really resonating with people out there where it's just, there's so much interest in it. It's unbelievable. Um, Getting to our roadmap, which I mentioned. So we, if you look on the, we're refreshing a lot of our, I mean, we have a really busy year ahead of us, and we've already released several of these things already. So we're always refreshing our certs. They don't all refresh at the same time. They're staggered, but we're refreshing our cybersecurity analyst certification in June, our data sys plus in October, our new security plus, which security plus is now our most popular cert. It's even overtaken A plus, which is the oldest cert that we have, but security plus has even overtaken that. Um, and then in terms of learning, we're launching a digital literacy product as well as Office Pro. But then on the right side, I want you to notice especially, so we already launched Sec AI Plus. The two other new certs that we're launching this year is one is called Auto Ops. So Auto Ops Plus is giving you expertise in automation and scripting and infrastructure management. So think a lot about automation with that one. So we have actually, and I'll show. Oh, actually, the link there, right under where it says product roadmap, that is a link to a new site that we launched called our product roadmap, and you can see titles that are sunsetting or expiring, ones that we are launching soon, and ones kind of more future ones that we're working on. So you have a really clear idea of at any given time what's already launched, what's about to launch, and what we're working on. And so if you go there, you would see all this information. But the other new cert that we're going to launch this year in December is called SecOT. So think about SecOT around OT stands for operational technologies. So think about things like water treatment plants, sewage plants, power plants, um, all of those, manufacturing facilities, all these places have huge amounts of tech equipment, and everything now has an IP address, which is great, but it also means that it could be hacked easily, and that someone needs to know how to use it safely and securely. And so that's where Seco T Plus comes in. It is geared to those people working in those plants and those manufacturing facilities and anything that has operational technology. Those people need to know cybersecurity just like the average person does, more so, because if one of those tools or machines gets hacked, then there could be some major damage to our water or electrical grids or anything else. So we're really excited about that one as well. That's one we've been hearing about from the industry a long time, that we need something to validate those skills. And then when it comes to the essentials, some of the other ones that are coming are AI help desk essentials. Actually, that just launched in February. That's a really great complement to their A plus certification. AI agent essentials, co-pilot essentials, customer support essentials, finance essentials, and AI fundamentals. That's a specific one that we're doing for academic institutions. So a lot of stuff already here, a lot of stuff on the way. And we would love your feedback as well on other ideas for the essentials line. Are there other specific, again, AI for blank kind of that we could fill in? I know we have a whole whiteboard of others that we're looking at, but these are the ones that we've definitely committed to. But we're very open for suggestions if you guys have ideas. And I think that was it for me. Yeah. Any questions for me on anything?
Did you
And if
want
you
to
think
talk
of
about those short courses? That was,
Well, yeah, those are the essential. Those are the
oh, those are
essentials
all.
line.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. All the essentials that I was showing. Those are the short courses. We call those the essentials. These are the ones that are like 2 to 8 hours. Um, and the chats that I was showing, the demos. Those are part of those essentials products. That gives you an idea of the type of ways in which essentials helps show that you've learned these new skills.
Now,
So
does
these are
somebody
these
need to take one of the core certs? Like, let's say you have Sec AI. Do you need to do Sec Plus in order to do Sec AI, or you can do them separately?
I would absolutely do Sec Plus or Pen Test or CYSA Plus before you do Sec AI. I would
Okay.
strongly recommend that. I wouldn't jump right into Sec AI Plus. I would have one of those others beforehand.
Okay. And that does that also apply to the other core certs as well?
Let
I
me
think, like, let's say for network or
yeah, so for let me find where was that sorry.
I always ask the
Um
hard questions.
no, it's a great question. So let me just find my pathways. Okay, so the auto ops, the one around automation, that's also what we call an expansion cert. Sec AI is an expansion cert. Um, So what that means is they're really complementary to, in the case of auto ops, to like Network Plus or Linux Plus or Server Plus or Cloud Plus. You would want to get one or more of those four before you add on auto ops because it's really
Hmm.
complementary. Think of these expansions as like shorter certification courses. They're not as long or as extensive as like auto ops is not going to be as large probably as Network Plus or Server or Linux. It might be I'm just throwing a number out. Like it might be two-thirds as big, but it's a really great complement to the skills that you learn in these other ones. And we didn't want to, but it's big enough that we didn't want to like add it onto one of these certs, like and just make Network Plus bigger or Server Plus bigger and longer, we didn't want to like make those like too big. So we decide on these expansions that are just a great complement. They're shorter, but they're a great complement to any of these. So think of AutoOps as a great complement to any of these four. Think of Sec AI Plus as a great complement to any of these three. But strongly recommend that you get one of these three or one of these three before you do the respective expansion, which is AutoOps or Sec AI. Does that help answer your question?
Yeah, for real. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Um, but that was it. And if you, again, my contact information is here. Please follow me on LinkedIn. I post a lot of great research there, among other things, blogs and things like that. But our research that we are constantly launching is really valuable. If you want to get a feel for a taste of or more of what I showed you today with some of the research that we did, Please follow me on LinkedIn. Feel free to shoot me an email with any questions, give me a call, whatever. But hope this was helpful, and please feel free to follow up if you have other questions.
The only thing I'm going to add here for folks that are watching this after the fact is if you are watching this and you're not an Operation Code member, Operation Code is specifically a resource for our transitioning military service members, veterans, military spouses, and military families in growing tech careers. So we do offer scholarships. We are a certified CompTIA provider. And if you fit within one of those categories, you're eligible for free scholarships. Go to our website, www.operationcode.org to join, and then you'll also see our scholarships page to find out more information. And hopefully, if you are a part of that military community or allies, reach out if you're interested. Otherwise, you can go to the CompTIA site and go ahead and register yourself as well if you're not part of our community. Thank you, Kirk. As always,
Thank you, Cynthia. Always a pleasure.
have a good
Talk to you
one.
next time. You too.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.